Hi, good morning, everybody. Is everyone enjoying their YouTube chat room without me? Uh, Hope you guys were, because it's just you. Wasn't me here. Nope, not much good at all. Um, FPV Peloton. No, my oldest cat is super skinny, like really, really skinny. And he was meowing at the food bowl this morning, and I'm like, I'm like, hey, let's give him soft food because we have normal hard food, and his teeth are kind of garbage. So anyway, we got some soft food and I was experimenting with feeding it to him. Notice he wasn't biting his food, he was just licking it. So his teeth are just probably hurting him so much. So I was like trying to help him eat, diluting his he was just licking, so I'm like, okay, well, what if I dilute some of this? So I was just experimenting. Yeah, otherwise he'll just die of starvation. Not a good situation. All right, speaking of dying of starvation, stock market's basically flat. SI PLL right blockchain down 5% today. And yeah, we're going nowhere fast, guys. What else do you want to talk about? That's it. That's all I had for the market. I had 15 minutes of nothing, and that's all I have to say about the market. Now we can talk about other things. It's a great time to do that. Actually, I think that's indicative of the yeah. That's going to be how sometimes silence speaks louder than words, Ellie. So sometimes silence speaks louder. Stimulus is going to help. Apparently not. Oh, and me, Muhammad? No, not really. No, not much frustration. Just don't like watching my cat die. That's the most frustrating part. But no, I only have one position in the markets, and I have it till June. So I'm trying just to be patient, and it's probably going to expire worthless anyways. But I don't know why I'm holding it that long. Must be you then. Maybe Muhammad. I mean, this is a choppy market right now. It's hard to make money in these markets. So that's why I'm pretty much cash. I got one position. That's it. Yeah, we went to the vet a while ago. He's got like kidney cancer, stuff like that. Just is an old cat. He's like 16. He's an elder statesman, but he's actually been nicer the past couple of years. He was kind of a dick before, and wouldn't let me touch him at all. The past couple of years, he's been pretty cuddly, which is good. Yeah, there's a whole generation of cats that my wife got 15 years ago, and Charlie's the last one. Elder statesman, and then we have the new batch of cats, and if I don't, like this morning, I had to watch him eat because if I don't, the other cats will literally eat his lunch because animals don't give a shit about old people. They're like, oh, I'll take that. Kind of like the stock market. They're like, oh, I'll take that. Planetar options. I posted on a Reddit thread. Some dudes like, I've got November calls on Planetar and they're dying. I'm like, yeah, it's out of cycle. Didn't know what else to say. I did say a bunch of stuff, but I erased it. I'm like, yeah. Everyone had like one line answers or one line comments, I guess. And mine was like two paragraphs. I'm always the guy in Reddit posting two paragraph answers. That's me. Just only me. No one else is doing that ever. April calls for Planetar? Yeah. Yeah, they're stinking. Well, the market's choppy right now, so Jared, you got August. What's your what's the particulars on those calls? What was your strike and what'd you pay for them? And let's watch money evaporate. Yeah, this guy got November. It's like they're evaporating. I'm like, yeah, pretty much. Uh, let's not. Why not? Face your fear, ladies and gentlemen. Face your fear. Don't let it get the best of you. 30 strike, 7. Okay. Jesus. All right. Yeah. So that means your break even is 37, which is. What'd you say? August? Break even by August. I did see the Suez Canal, Mohammed. That is pretty crazy. I just saw it. It is $2. So that's unfortunately going to be a slow evaporation. Can someone push that out of there, please? It's like a 1,300 foot ship. August 20th. Okay, so there's good news and there's not good news. Um, the good news is at least your break even isn't like 55. That's the good news. The bad news is that we don't know how long this market doldrum's going to take for it to maybe get back up to your break even. Everybody's going to want obviously to skyrocket to 140. Unlikely to happen just the way things have been shaping out. Typically we don't we usually don't skyrocket out of these bases. Um, we usually kind of walk up. These kind of walked up, but in some of these stocks, yeah, it's a little tricky right now. Now's a tricky situation, but I mean you're already down 60%, 70%. It's a catch 22. Usually in these situations I just sell, but in a lot of them, at least you can come back and gain back a good amount of that value. And generally, you just have to sell when it gets back up to where it looks like you're not hemorrhaging anymore. But the problem is, you get up there, you start getting confident, and then it rolls back over. You're like, ah, shit, I should have sold when I was up there. It's happened to me a couple times this cycle, even. Nuke it to oblivion. Okay, no one give Ellie his mechanical engineering license. Stick to software where you can only nuke servers. Interesting how Ellie's first option is, well, I guess second option is nuke it. It's not a burrito, Ellie. It's not a hot pocket. And it's in the middle of the desert. They ain't taking those. There's probably like 400 containers on that ship. Last time they had, I saw they had 8 tugboats trying to pull that thing out of there. What's up, Ethan? You want to say hi? Say hi to Ellie.
Hi, Ellie.
What are you up to, bud?
Um, I was just gonna say that Biscuit got into the wet food,
How? Where?
and so did Cap.
Yeah, well, I know Copper did.
Yeah, Biscuit.
Oh, did.
It's the little silver.
Oh, that's what Charlie was done with that.
Um,
I figured somebody would get it. It was Biscuit. Okay.
food.
Huh? Biscuit? Because he eats everything else in the house. That's why, yeah, we can't leave stuff on the floor almost at all anymore. He's a little nightmare. Little nightmare. Options for 2023. Um, oh, what if Planetar's at 15? I don't know. I mean, I guess the question is Planetar the next it? I mean, that's really the question. Yeah, they're going to be expensive. I mean, Planetar, there's so much hype. If you're invested in the market at all, you know about Planetar, and I don't even think it necessarily has. Let's go look at it a little bit. So 40 billion market cap. I mean, the question with some of these, especially going out that far, you have a couple questions to ask. Is the market going to be healthy at that, at approximately that time? And is this what's the outlook for the stock? Gross margin of 67. Sales are good. EPS is good too. Sales EPS good. Margins great. Yeah, a lot of the fundamentals look pretty good. So you're going at 2023. I guess what's your price target for 2023? So you buy it at the money at 20. You're at 29.70. You think it's going to 50? Okay. Well, if you look at it, this will be basically a $30 option. So then you're going out to 50. So 30 from 50 is like 66%. So you're looking at a 66% return if it goes to 50. Hello. Okay. Yeah, my RTX voice died. RTX voice died. It's back. All right. And of course, you erased what I was looking at. Yeah, I'm with Ellie. I don't like to buy in these market environments, especially coming after such a massive bull. I mean, generally need some kind of a consolidation. You search it or what? There we go. So, undervalued by 23% currently. Who knows? Future growth. Okay, how Plantar is forecast to perform the next 1 to 3 years. It's based on two analysts. 2025, 2024. There's your COVID dip. Back into Facebook still looked even good yesterday. Company industry market analyst future forecast. That's cool. Well, it looks like they're still not going to make any money. Sometimes it matters, sometimes it don't. So they're supposed to get profitable sometime in 2024. 2 billion in assets, 600,000 liabilities. Debt's being reduced, which is good. Okay, that's an interesting platform. I think I'll keep it up actually. Um, yeah, it's interesting with something like Planeter. I generally agree with Ellie. I mean, I think it's playing with resistance right now. I mean, longer term, it's so hard to gauge these. We're usually buying these things right when they're set to go, not usually buying these things, a year before they're set to go. Yeah, that's a tough one to be honest with you. I don't know if I would buy 2 year leaps on this. I mean, the market is depressed. So a couple things. When the market's depressed, it's generally a good time to buy good assets. Planetar could be considered a good asset. I mean, they could start beating the next couple quarters. You never know, but um, it could also go sideways for a year or two. And if you're holding that option, it's going to evaporate on you. And with only a 68% return going to 50, it's not worth it. I mean, let's take a look at another one, Mastercard. You take a look at Mastercard, which everybody knows Mastercard's a market leader. Fairly easy to get information on potential economics and stuff like that. Um, you look at Mastercard going higher, which Mastercard is sitting in highs. I'm not advocating this particular trade, but here you have it going out to 2023. This is what I'm looking at. So this is just a for instance. So here's Mastercard COVID dip came back, another dip, pretty steady here, poking its head up, and then you've got, you know, I'm looking at a much bigger target, potentially. I don't know. That's a measure. I'm not sure where I got that from, but anyway, So that's 686. If you look at that going out to January 2023, you've got a 686 target and a break even of right here of 420 to 686, and you're paying $60 for something going to go up $300. So from that perspective, this is a much better risk reward trade. So like I said, either your target's too low. Now, if your target's only 580, let's say this goes to the top of the range here. Um, this is going to be 420 to 580. That's 120. So even that's 200%. Much better than 60%. 60%, I don't touch a 60% trade. The risk reward isn't there at all. Gotta keep my door closed, Bugs. What?
Biscuit.
Where do you get it from? It's just a packing peanut.
And I wondered where it came from.
Yeah, go hunting. Please close my door. It's cold. So yeah, even in this situation, you look at a lot better, a lot further out. But I mean, generally, when you have a market that's in a malaise like this, as long as it doesn't go into a blanket correction, the question to answer is that what stocks are going to bounce back? What are they? What's still going to be in vogue? Because you never know exactly what's going to run. Like MJ is a pretty good example, right? Let's take a look at that Facebook real quick. A lot of things just went green. Okay. And get rid of yeah, it's everyday Ellie. Let's see how we close. We're fortunate to just be going sideways in the indexes right now, which is good. Yeah, Facebook looking fantastic, man. Facebook is looking really good. Look at the declining two red days here, increasing volume, many pocket pivots. Two declining volume red days. We're back out to retesting the trend line. Facebook does look really good. That's odd because a couple of weeks ago we were like, yeah, Facebook well, I guess a month ago over here, like Facebook looks like it's gonna break down, and then it goes bump up 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 as the market's going what? So let's take a look at IBD stuff. See, I bet you Facebook's relative strength is pretty good lately. Probably still has pretty good earnings as well. There you go, 95 composite rating. Not quite all-time highs in relative strength, but it is crossing that prior high right there, which is not bad. Next trillion-dollar industry. I'm sick of being sold crap like that. Pins is first in the group. Facebook, 52% EPS. Jeez, still? Good God, man. 33% sales change, 3-year sales growth rate 27. This thing is just knocking on pretty much all cylinders. EPS growth is slowing because it's just massive. Give it a little bit of a pass on that. 812 billion. Maybe it's going to get up there into the 1 billions with the rest of them. That would be a 25% increase. 0% change in funds owning stock. That's okay. I guess it's in all of them. Facebook shops eases privacy woes. What's Facebook shops? After 6 mostly moribund months, moribund, haven't heard that word before, has reawakened. The spark came last Friday when Facebook gave a rousing update on social media giant's big e-commerce push. He also suggested a new privacy measure from Apple, which is among investors' biggest worries, could actually be a blessing in disguise. Interesting. Facebook blew away fourth quarter earnings estimate, posting fastest revenue growth in more than 2 years. Facebook except for an answer reversal day. Um, High opt-out rates from allowing Facebook to track users' activity across third-party sites. Opt-out means Facebook will know less about users' interests. Um, Zuckerberg announced Facebook Shops first announced last month. Get the fuck out of my face, man. Seriously. Fucking IBD. Becoming a garbage shit site. Zuckerberg expressed confidence that will manage through the situation well. Oh, it takes. There we go. 1 million active shops in its digital mall and 250 million shoppers or at least browsers per month. Facebook's biggest effort to bring e-commerce purchases in-house instead of just facilitating user advertised connections that result in off-site purchases. Businesses can set up single shop for customer access on Facebook and Instagram. Um, should give investors more confidence in the durability of Facebook multi-year growth. That's good. 30% of Americans are shopping on Facebook, Instagram site per month. Wow. Really? Jeez. So they haven't even. Wow. 1.9 billion in avenue annual revenue tied to Instagram shops. 1.9 billion in annual revenue. Um, Implies that global contribution from shops this year is likely to be larger than our negative 1.9 billion annual estimate. Or oh, that's not negative. That's about. Ad targeting headwinds. They're thinking only 10% revenue hit worst case. Apple changes could encourage more businesses to conduct commerce on our platform to make the most of their internal data for advertising purposes. Still, to the extent Facebook advertising prowess depends on more activity within the Facebook and Instagram and implications of a breakup becoming bigger. Oh, okay. On MP, what you got? Yeah, the question is where could Facebook go from here? That's the question. But earnings are good on Facebook. I mean, love them or hate them. Another dollar stable coin, it looks like. Can you short it to 15? Is that your question or Muhammad's? Muhammad had a question. I didn't see it. To 15? I don't know. That's a lot of selling volume. I I wouldn't touch it. I mean, why? I one of the there's some traders that long short all day long. And there's other traders that only long. I'm basically an only long trader. So I don't want to really short anything except for extreme circumstances. Whole ladder is short sellers, long bids start at 220. I think Trollmaster's actually trolling us. I wonder if that's actually a what the hell he's talking about there. Fictitious fables of Europa. All right, Trollmaster. He may actually be trolling. So unless we get further explanation out of Trollmaster, I wouldn't be putting much weight into some of his posts here. Don't know what that means really. In terms of me or Trollmaster, Muhammad? EMC up 7%. Oh, speaking of which, how's GameStop doing? Just as a spectator sport. Oh, it's back down. See, that's a stock you likely could have shorted. Okay, let me get closer to my screen. I could barely see the question you wrote there. Oh, there we go. Jeez. No, that's cool. They announced a secondary public offering of 6 million shares, but apparently these are not new shares. Yeah, they're shares that they have internally. They're not issuing new shares, but they're selling it to raise capital. Um, just wait to see how the market reacts to it. I mean, it's all about market reaction to the event. By the time you see it in the news, the people in the know have already, sold their shares, which is kind of what they did over here, right? That may be why they did that, because there's a dilution happening of the shareholder, which you have to keep in mind what the stock market is. The stock market values everything in earnings per share. So if you're introducing new shares, the earnings per share goes down, which should bring the stock price down, if that makes sense. So they have 170 million shares. For some reason, they don't have their float, which is odd. And they're issuing 6 million. So 6 million isn't really that many shares compared to 170 million. It's not even 5%. It's like 2.5 to 3%, something like that. So it shouldn't really make a material difference. They're not issuing too many shares, but they set the price at 35. Well, they're going to sell it on the open market, and it kind of, I guess they kind of have to. I don't know what they have to do. Drop 12% on secondary offering. Yeah, 8 million shares by certain existing stockholders. Oh, so it could be managers in the company. Certain existing stockholders. Oh, so the company isn't selling any shares, won't receive proceeds. So it's just individuals trying to liquidate. So it's showing lack of confidence by management, or at least people in the know in the company. Doesn't mean that MP is bad per se. It just means that maybe they're trying to take advantage of a good run in the stock price. Um, whatever the case may be, MP, for whatever reason, they're trying to sell a bunch of shares. You go from 10 to 50, and gets a lot of rich people a little bit greedy. So that they could be just locking in profits. Could be a number of reasons for it. You never know exactly the motivations behind some of the moves, but it usually ends up um, causing some type of a negative reaction, because they have to assume the worst, and that's basically what they're doing here. If someone tells you that they know CEO of X company, he's very bullish, or you yourself talk to CEO that pumps up his stock, the only thing you can do is run. Don't think he is giving me insider info. Totally gonna get rich off this. Just short it. Well, I wouldn't short it either per se. Actually, that CEO guy that I talked to wants to do an interview on my channel. I'm like, okay, we can do an interview, but yeah, CEOs don't know shit about their stock price. To be quite frank with you, and it's this guy with BTCS here. Um, CEOs don't know anything about their stock price. They are in their managers. They're caretakers of the business. They may know a lot of the larger shareholders, um, but it doesn't mean they know where the stock is going to go. To Ellie's point, you're not going to be. He's not going to run up to you and go, "Hey, you should." If it's and generally it is a good rule of thumb. If they're making something sound like a secret, they're trying to scam you for the most part. Yeah, don't. It's hard to take tips. Tips are generally not good in the markets. I mean, generally, my thesis is your trade should be your trade. It shouldn't be my trade. It shouldn't be anyone's trade. It should be your trade based on your research and information. You can get research and information from anywhere, but you have to know why you're doing the trade, what you want out of the trade, and be willing to accept the consequences either way. Yeah, CEO has to be bullish. They may want to pump their stock to sell their bags. Idiot with a title. Um, Not in every circumstance. I wouldn't. I don't like to blanket a lot of people like that, but I mean, CEOs, yeah, their job is to sell their company. Their job is to sell their company to investors, to employees, to venture people, to stockholders. Their job is to sell their company. If they're like, man, dude, man, this company fucking is horrible. Seriously, it's really bad. Like what? that's that's not very good. You want to do Discord, Ellie? You sure are typing a lot. Let's look at Apple real quick. Yeah, Facebook still looks pretty good. That's pretty good. Well, yeah, it sounds like you need it, man. So you don't have to typey typey. NIOFUV, XPEV. So these are those two of those smaller automakers. And this Tesla still looks pretty downsy, unfortunately. Doesn't look bad, but doesn't quite look good either. Well, I mean, let's be a little bit clear about something. Um, the CEO's job is to manage the business. I mean, it's not really to make the stock go up. He has no control over that. Um, the guys that try to control that, those are the ones that Ellie's referring to in terms of those guys are a-holes. The guys that try to pump into their stock. They're not, you know what I mean? Their job is just to manage the company, and the investors should see value in it. It's, but I mean, most CEOs are going to tout their business. They obviously make a lot of money because they're the top guy, but it doesn't mean you have to trust what they say. But I mean, their job is to paint everything in as best light as they possibly can. That's quite literally part of their job description. Hold on, Ellie. See if I got my headphone settings right. I don't hear nothing. All right, say something, Ellie. What you got there, bud? Hello? Am I muted? Eh, I don't think I'm muted. Oh, I heard something. He went away. Now you there? There he is.
Sorry, I had to restart Discord a couple of times.
That's okay. Yeah, I know. I was just talking to Muhammad was talking about CEOs being a-holes or something. I'm like, CEOs aren't a-holes by default. I mean, you're right. Their job is to pump their stock, but they should be just managing the business. They should have nothing to do with the stock price. They should be updating information. The investors usually should make the decision, which usually involves ignoring hype by the hype man CEO.
You said a lot of should, like that's not reality.
I mean, it's not reality. Of course, it's reality. They
The
should
reality
be.
is like
They should be
no, but
running
like
their business.
no, but the tips are they're not looking like, oh yeah, please buy my stock. That's not how the whole tips go. It goes like, oh, there's this company X, right? It's running this new product line, and I know we're gonna get huge numbers because we already run the whatever user group testing or other bullshit, or like we have a client who's gonna buy all of the inventory, so we're gonna pump. Like you don't know the details of the deal. You don't know what the business is like. They just selling you whatever cool news, right? And they're pumped about it. It could be like it doesn't have to be malicious. It could be like real faith into whatever they're doing because why else would they work at the company, right? So the problem was that you're sort of like relying on other people's decisions and hoping that that's what are gonna play out, but most of the time it's not. Like the way the market reads the information about the company is totally different than the company reads their own information. I just remember how Musk was like pissed off on the shorters when they were legit. Like like Tesla was on the brink of bankruptcy, right? I understand that we all hyped with the faith of that Tesla's going to work out, but at that time, Tesla was a few months from being closed,
Yeah,
and the read of the market was correct.
and Elon mentioned it afterwards.
Yeah, so the read of analysts was correct at that
Yeah,
time. But if
yeah,
you listen to Musk, like it's the best company in the world, and this one worked out. But majority of time, it doesn't. That's the whole point. Like most of the times, it doesn't.
yeah. Which is why we often talk about just ignore everything but the charts for the most part.
I agree.
Yeah,
The problem is that because you get like insider hint, right? You go over leverage, which that's what I did. I went too much in the bullshit stock on a tip, right? And it's not. It wasn't like huge number, right? I went. I can tell the numbers. I bought 1,000 stocks for like $27, something like this. So 27K rate, and it went down to like $18, right? Which is $10 loss on the trade on the stock, which is around $10,000 of loss.
yeah,
And whose fault is that? Mine.
yeah, yeah, yeah. You kind of start feeling a little more isolated. You know what I mean? Like it's kind of nice to. It feels good to have a little bit of information, a little bit of something, but then it goes sideways. You're like, well, can't even trust that anymore. And then eventually you're just left with, okay, it's just me and the charts. And that's
But that's a reality. Like that's and
yeah,
another thing is that because you sort of give away the control to someone new, someone real situation, you sort of start believing in stuff, and that's where you're holding things for too long. Like that what makes you to be like, hey guys, what do you think about this stock? And somebody's like, this stock is gonna double. I feel it, and you're like, okay, let's keep on going, because someone said that it's gonna double.
yeah. Well, it's comfortable having some at least an emotional safety net because trading is emotion. Everything we do in life is emotional. Period.
That's
And
a downfall.
yeah, trading's no different. So yeah, it's nice to have someone, like Planetar's a great example. Like everybody still on Planetar's butt. Everybody's still on Planetar's butt, but it was like they're secretive. We don't know anything about it. But Planetar, the only reason, it's good in an uptrend when it's moving in the right direction. But when you start getting topping signals, but and the problem is people will hang on to this and they drop off one by one as they learn that lesson the hard way. And then, eventually some people, I mean, look, I can't say it's not going to come back. I mean, it's not looking completely dead. It is holding support at 20. It's just really close to that support. So, like I said, these are some areas where if the market stays strong, you get some pretty good, potential medium term buys. but you have to have the conviction in the overall, maneuvering of the market in the next few months, which is really hard to do at this stage because we still don't have any bullish momentum. We're still just kind of bouncing from the sell off, at least in the net from the Nasdaq, and even a lot of the leaders. With Amazon and Apple's still under its 50-day. Like that's technically not a good. It looks like a bear flag.
Yeah.
Apple. A classical shorting signal is a rejection of the 50-day, which Apple's done twice so far. So technically, it's shortable with your stop at the 50-day, wherever that is, whenever that is. So that's a dangerous sign when that's your biggest market cap leader. And then Amazon also under its 50-day. Actually, 2 days ago it rejected its 50-day. So until these stocks get back above their 50-day, the whole market is in flux. There's no surety in the next trade. It's just not there.
So let's talk both cases, because that's pretty much what I'm doing this week, trying to ease my pain by thinking. I have only one bullish case and a lot of bearish cases.
Okay.
I'm trying to. So which you want to start? Because I really think that just one thought which I had yesterday, and that's a part which I think that me and you got caught in, right? Like me and you got caught into this chop, right? And we didn't recognize that that's a chop and that's a huge volatility, and went on like, oh, we're gonna just wait for the rally kind of mentality. At least that was like my mentality. I'm like, I'm gonna buy this thing cheaper and just gonna wait it to double because we're back into bullish, right? Like this year in January and pretty much every month. And it didn't happen. And it seems that the market is just chopping, right? And which makes you buy stuff like high and sell low kind of mentality, which means that in this kind of chop, what we should have done if we could be objective was to just get take the gains as soon as possible.
Well, the question,
you know what I mean?
Yeah. So, okay, let's revisit the past like 4 months. Because for me, like ever since I sold my Tesla early, I told you guys I've been a little bit out of sync. And so I missed a lot of the last I got some, but I missed a good portion of it. And I just started locking in profits at that point. I just locking them in because I'm like, okay, I'm out of sync, something's not right. And so I started locking in profits. And then we started having this little downturn. So things were still going up good, and so whatever I was doing really wasn't hurting the account. It was actually still growing things. And then when things started to roll over, and I was getting long Microsoft, and I was long Apple for a minute, and then those stopped working. Like remember we had those really big bullish setups on these macros, on these super big ones. We're like, oh yeah, Amazon's looking good. And then Apple started to go. Remember Apple started to go?
Yeah. I remember because I loaded a bunch of options, which just killed me.
Yeah, so Apple started to go. Looks like towards the latter part of January, and it went pretty good. Volume was, and then they had an earnings report, and ever since that earnings report, they've been kind of
which
dead.
Was great, which was great. Like if you think about it, like we got Amazon, AMD, Apple, and like bunch of like Nvidia, all of them outperformed the expectations. All of them just loaded a bunch of cash. Like it looked like best news ever, and on those news we sold off. Like I think that should have been a bad omen sign kind of idea.
Yeah. No, you're 100%. That is a bad omen sign when you have good earnings and you get bad price action. That's a warning sign. So we started having warning signs, which and I did raise a bunch of cash, but I made some poor choices. I'm like, okay, maybe I thought to myself, okay, maybe the mega caps. It's a catch-22. You're really screwed no matter what you do, because if you have this thinking during the bull run, you don't make the money. If you have the same thinking during these topping periods, you're going to lose money. So the same thought process with different results during different market situations. And you were right to say, being objective, we should have thought this. But I don't think you can trade everything perfectly. I think you have to give up gains at the top to get those gains during the run. You have to be a little bit more confident when the run is good. That like the past market cycle prior to this one, coming out of that, I mean, remember things were bad for like 2 days. Looked like the whole market was going to crack, and then it just reversed like the next week. Remember that? It just reversed, went sideways, and then straight up continued up. This
Yeah,
time,
and because last year we were because last year those kind of reversals, right, and ending up being like a huge runs after that. You sort
yeah,
of you were trained you were trained by market to like, oh yeah,
yeah,
this is still fine, just stay in until it actually broke the pattern. But you're still living on a hopium because you saw those huge runs over and over entire year.
yeah. So here's how I look at things, and this is what I really would like to put. I was talking to you about how I want to make an AI or something. This is what I want to put into the market, and people do this in various ways. Believe it or not, like indirectly, they don't do it quite the same way that I do. A lot of them do it manually the way that I do. I'm sure some people have some kind of screener for it or something. But anyway, so you have the stocks that are leading during the cycle. When you see those stocks start to falter and stop doing the same thing they used to do, that is a huge warning sign that we're either, that you're either getting a big cycle rotation, or we're going to go into a full-blown correction. It's usually one of the two, because you can go into some situations and come out of them with the same leadership, which is basically what we did for the most part through most of 2020 and in the beginning part of 2021 here. But what changed? What changed was, like you said, good earnings, bad results, big bases on the big cap names that were rolling over instead of staying stable or going higher. And then, at what point do you start cutting? At what point do you start cutting? Well, the problem is most people are focused on the Planeters. Most people are focused on all these other ones. But then you look at the leaders, look at the big market cap leaders. Like we said, Apple went into new highs and then failed. Microsoft went into new highs and then failed. Tesla couldn't rally anymore. I mean, just name it. Name the leader. It's all about how the leaders are handling the market. And you can look at the NASDAQ as part of that picture. You can, pick this basket that you want to look at. I mean, you could almost make an index out of it, to be quite frank. You could pick like a leaders index. Like, remember back in the day, it was FANG. Everyone came up with the FANG stocks. It was FANG. And then they started dropping off one by one. And now it's basically just the big mega caps, mainly Amazon and Apple. Facebook's a little further down. But yeah, so all your big ones were
So
basing and rolling over. So now what you're looking for is those leaders to bounce back, which is why, if you notice, I've been spending a lot more time looking at Apple and Amazon lately. It's because I'm looking for some good signs, but all we have is bear flags under the 50-day.
okay, just I totally get the bullish case because we can see it with our eyes. Like that's not really a discussion. Let's pump some hopium, if you don't mind. Like, I don't see my problem, which I don't see, is that the charts tell me that everything is bullish, right? Bearish. Sorry, the charts telling me that everything is bearish, but I don't see a reason for it.
You don't have to.
Okay.
You just said the charts are showing everything is bearish. You don't see the reason. You don't need to see the reason. We just talked about ignoring CEO information, ignoring news, and we only have the charts, and the charts are showing us bearish. So what else is there?
I don't know.
Some Reddit post or some CNBC analyst coming out and saying, "Oh, I see I see the Nasdaq at 15,000 by the end of the year." I mean, maybe, maybe not.
No, please don't irritate me with the news. I really.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, what's left?
I'm ticked by the shills online. Like, it's not happening. Sorry.
I know.
That's
Well,
where we started.
yeah. Well, you've been around long enough now, especially now that it's one thing to like. So let's start like a beginning trader just believes everything they read and thinks that the world's sunshine and rainbows and all these things are going to come true. You slowly start to realize the world's trying to fuck you continuously.
Yes.
And then what happens is once you see it's a reality, it's hard to let go of some of that initial, childlike. Remember, like in your 20s, you still thought some of the things in your teens were true, and you slowly came to realize that, no, it's pretty much just me and my wife, and I'm gonna die, and I'm gonna die alone or with my wife or
That
whatever.
that. Oh, wow, welcome to the midlife crisis.
Well, welcome to the stock. Welcome to the stock. It's the same thing in the stock market. You have this crisis as the whole world just drops a ton of bricks on your head, called a correction or a bear market, and a lot of people don't realize it's just a growth phase as they, so my edge in the market is the technicals, is the charts, and if I try to bring anything else into my edge, it ruins the edge. There won't be an edge. Like that's what's worked for me is, and most of these technical methodologies are a lot of them based on can slim methodologies. Investors Business Daily, and then I wrapped options into it to kind of supercharge everything, and that's worked really well for me. So what's the bearish case? The bearish case is I'm cash, which I already am. The bullish case is, hey, eventually we'll come out of this and I'll make a fuck ton of money. So that's the bullish case. I could give a fuck until then. That's the bullish case. I don't care about today.
That's general strategy. No, but so the only one thing I came up today, and that's purely idea of the timing. I think, and that's my feeling. It feels the same as it was a year ago, as if the whole thing repeats. I'm not saying that that's a complete case, because this kind of things can catch you off guard for sure. That kind of pattern thinking, but I think we could repeat the last year by this, because the last year what was is like everybody didn't know what's happening. The economy was going down, but but then at some point the PMIs, the manufacturing numbers, were start pumping up, right? And the market started bouncing. A lot of people thought it's like a fake run, right? Like why exactly we're running, everything is closed, etc. And I think, and this year we're kind of opening, right? Like, so the things are actually happening, but the manufacturing is still going up. So that's why I'm saying I don't see why are we going down. I totally get the bearish case is visible by charts, but I think maybe it's temporarily the same thing which happened a year ago, and just it's repeating pattern. What do you think?
Hold on a second. My kid walked in the room. I heard what you said, though. Hold on.
I think we lost a bunch of people.
I don't think we ever had a bunch of people. Yeah, for live streaming every day for, I don't know, a while now. Sure don't have a lot of people on the stream. Yeah, it's one thing to forecast, and we all catch even I catch myself forecast. Like the only position I have right now is MasterCard, and I'm even second guessing my MasterCard position just because the market's just a huge piece of garbage right now. Yeah, I don't even want to. At the end of the day, what really works good for me is just not thinking. Like you said, you want to do some thinking to calm your nerves. What calms my nerves is cash and not thinking. Because so if we go back to a year ago, like you said, if we rinse and repeat, let's go back to a year ago. And what are we going to do? Are we gonna buy overstock? Were we gonna buy the early on we bought the UALs, if you remember. We bought the IVRs. We bought some of the other ones that did end up to having good runs. But did we say, oh yeah, Amazon's gonna fucking go through the roof? Did we say, you know what I mean? Like, it's one thing to kind of see the world's gonna close down, and it's another thing to kind of put your money into the assets that are going to run, which is what our job is. So it's not, it may be kind of a rinse and repeat scenario, but what do we do about it if it is? And then at the same time, if you get it wrong, then you're stuck in the wrong stocks. I'd rather just wait and see the ones that they do want to buy, and then go with those.
We're in a different position, right? Like right now, for example, I have a Binance account, right? And a few days ago, I sold bunch of crypto, right? Like I've actually like sold 80% of my holding, and just got the profit. And so right now I can talk about crypto. It's very easy. I can say, yeah, it looks like it's gonna go lower, and that's where I'm gonna buy. Like I can have this bias and say that's an idea. But in the stock market, for example, it caught me off guard. I was too much into positive thinking overall, right? I've been ignoring the science of this of this drop, and I'm I don't want to sell right now, to be honest, because I'm sitting on a bunch of losses. They're not huge, nothing to like cry about, but they're still there, right? I don't want to log those losses, except that stupid tip based position which I had. I just if I feel stupid about some positions, I would better like sell it without thinking and just move on, like the same which happened with PLO, for example. So that's just easier for me on brain. But the rest of it, I need to understand what to do with my entire portfolio. Should I, I don't want to sell it because so many times I would sell at the worst case scenario, and this taught me not to sell right away, but wait. And I'm trying to see, am I waiting for actually economic depression, which is going to happen this year, or am I waiting for things to bounce back? And that's why I'm saying I'm speculating about what exactly is going to happen.
Well, no. Okay, first of all, no one knows what's going to happen. Second of all you can do is manage your portfolio in the current market situation. So part of the question is, are you in options or stocks?
Stocks. My options is probably gonna just kill me. I have like April options. I don't have a lot of hope for April, but
Yeah. I
I,
mean,
I think if we bounce is going to be end of April, and at that time my option positions, which are few, are probably going to just be dead.
yeah, so you can choose to take that. Like how much money in options are we talking about?
Not much, like not even 10K.
Okay. Do you want to give that money to me? I'd make better use
Sure.
of it. I'd make better use of it than the fucking people that you're selling it to. So you either sell the options and keep the money, or you just send it to me.
Okay. So you can sell it for yourself. That's a
Yeah.
brilliant. Wow.
Well, you're giving the
That's a
money. You're giving the money to someone, Ellie. May as well be someone you love. Okay. So
wow. That's a lot of assumption about our relationship.
one of the at least for me, one of the things that's kind of helped me is that I used to have a bunch of those small positions, and I don't know how much it helped me, how much it didn't help me, but I'm like, I used to have these. They'd be like $1,000 position here, 500 there, and I'm like, I could do. I'm like, what would I do if I was handed $500? And like you said, you don't have a lot of hope for them right now. It's like, what would you do if you were handed $500? Would you turn it down? It's like, no, I wouldn't turn it down. So I just sold, regardless of what I was down, regardless of all that stuff. I mean, you have to have. You talk about having an exit point, and that's the thing with some of these options is that people think that I think they're almost viewed as a lottery ticket in the way that you buy them and that you lose it all or you gain it all. It doesn't have to be that way. If there's money left, I mean, 10K is real money.
I
10K
agree.
is 10K
But
is real money. I mean, if you're looking I don't know exactly what you have them in, but if you look at them objectively and you look at the premium you paid and how much you're looking to come back, like if we look at that PLTR chart, um, I think was it Muhammad that had PLTR was talking about it, or somebody was talking about PLTR, talking about going to 40 or 37 by August. Like, okay, what's the reality of that? And that's me breaking even. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's me breaking even. Let's say it goes sideways for 3 months as the market chops and does a bunch of bullshit. Then the odds of it getting to up there are next to nothing, and I'll be down 80% in 3 months. Where maybe now I'm only down 70%. So, but you can capture that 30% and then redeploy the capital, or at least sit on the sidelines with that capital and then redeploy with a different strategy. But I would still, especially with options, that's why I said stocks are options, because with stocks you can have an infinite holding time if you want. With options you obviously don't. So you can capture that premium back and then deploy it into something else. and then psychologically, what that does is that tells you that these losses aren't okay. You're like, this isn't a thing I'm willing to tolerate. Like I'm not, like I should have sold MJ a long time ago. You know what I'm saying? Instead, I watched that thing evaporate, and I was down. I mean, it
Yeah,
was a
we're both for it.
yeah, I know. That's why I mentioned. That's why I'm mentioning it because we both got screwed on that one. And I even held those MJs as I was going through that process where I was just closing all these short options trades out, or these little options trades that were just garbage. I'm like, I'll just leave MJ in case it pops back.
Yeah,
But
because
yeah,
it was elite options, right? Like you
yeah.
have a lot of time to make that kind of decision, and
But that's what
but
people are getting into now, and that's the chat that I'm. Oh, what do you think? What do you think? Planetar going out to 2022? That's what I
no,
just saw.
but hear me out. Like I think that's because that's a different thing, right? Like for example, I
Okay.
don't care about getting wait, just hear me out. I don't
Mm-hmm.
care about getting out from the lost position if I see a pattern is broken, right? You have a specific expectations for chart going down, right? And then you see a move which can catch you off guard, right? Like a significant drop, which gets below or into the support zone, um, basically below the support zone. And for me, the pattern is broken. Like now, I don't see this as a bullish flag. I see this as as a flat top, basically kind of scenario. There's a
What
lot of
are you
patterns
talking
like
about? A
this, right?
specific? Are you talking about a specific stock?
Oh, you can look at the COP. Remember
Oh, KOP.
KOP?
Okay. Yeah, I didn't know
Yeah.
what you were talking about. Oh, let me. How do I type that in chat? That's funny. Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. I see. Yes, yeah. So the second that thing had that failed breakout the other day, that's like that, especially with options. That's just dead to me. Like I don't even want to hold. Oh, so go ahead and continue with your thesis now that I know.
So the thesis is like this. A lot of times when things go against you, you're playing the game of like, oh yeah, I need to convince myself that this is a good position because I have a specific conviction or faith into this specific stock. But for me, if I can sit in a losing position, that's a problem with options. If it goes sideways, because I don't see it breaking the pattern, right? I don't see it's doing what I wanted. I don't see it's breaking the pattern, and that catch me off guard. When I see it's breaking my pattern, I'm getting out. I don't care the loss because that's definitely like I was definitely wrong, and you need to admit it.
Yeah.
Um, yeah. So the slow grind, which that's what kills me.
Yeah. So what's
Which which
yeah? So
exactly what got us in NJ.
MJ. Yeah, MJ was a thing. MJ. That's just young and dumb with options, in my opinion. And I got to admit, back when we put that on in 2019, that was a sizable portion of my account. I did big stupid on MJ. From a percentage, from a dollar basis, it wasn't that bad, but from a percentage basis,
Yeah.
it was pretty bad from a percentage basis. And
Yeah.
I mean, luckily able to make it back in other trades, but yeah. So I look at these PLTRs, I look at these things. So and that's when go back to your that you have that expire in April. Like if it is PLTR, I thought you were saying something. I should just call it
It's
planters.
called planters, sure.
I'm just gonna call it planters.
Like that, but okay.
They what?
You have a Donkey Kong, which is
Oh, yeah, exactly. That's what I was thinking about. Yeah,
okay. It's funny.
I have short hands.
Yeah, but you know
Remember Donkey Kong and Planters? Those were great ones for a while, right? Yeah, we'll call
Whoa.
Apple. We'll call Apple. Yeah, I said DKNG. Just couldn't think anything but Donkey Kong. That's all I could think about.
It's fine. Now everybody knows Donkey Kong.
Yeah, everyone knows all three people that joined the stream. I don't even know what I was talking about before. I have no idea what I was talking about. I really have no idea what I was talking about. Anyway,
So
in these
I
situations,
actually
I
need
mean,
to.
yeah, no, it's fine. Yeah, I'd bail. I would bail on those options positions, or just send me 8K in Bitcoin. That would be helpful if you just want to.
Okay.
As
You
the
want to buy
market
Tesla with Bitcoin?
market is down 1% right now.
It's flash green, give you a chance to sell, to get out, and then dump again.
Yeah, I bet you Apple is See Apple and Amazon in those bear flag scenarios, man. No bueno. No bueno. Who says technicals
Yeah.
don't work?
Yep. Yeah. So I'm probably just gonna wait till the end of the day, just in case some stuff is gonna bounce and gonna get out of a bunch of shit.
Yeah, stupid mouse. Yeah, lately that's been a good thing. I think yeah, it's I mean the market takes so long to do some things and it does have some key reversals on you, but we're fighting that middle Bollinger Band right now and we're yeah, it's looking interesting. I don't know. I'm hoping Tesla's going to hold up. If Tesla starts rolling over, man, I don't have a lot of faith in a lot of stuff in this market. If it starts to,
Yeah.
and it hasn't been acting healthy.
Legitimately, only Facebook looks nice. That's like, I don't know.
Yeah, and
That's
is
the only thing I see right now.
yeah, but I don't want to. I don't want to play in that. I don't want to play in anything. I mean,
Yeah, no, the same. Like, first of all, I'm too much in the market anyway. So like, it's not that I'm sitting on the sidelines.
yeah,
Uh, I'm actually involved, which makes my which just sucks to be honest. Probably gonna just sell a bunch of stuff by the end of the day today, just to make myself feel better.
yeah. I mean, we could, we could start going into a choppy market. We haven't, we haven't. And oh, one thing I wanted to say earlier, which I'll say right now. I think you said you had to go. Um, I mentioned this the other day. It's a little scary when the Nasdaq is selling its ass off, and the Dow Jones is making new highs, which is what it just started doing. That is frightening.
How so?
Um, it is well. I'm gonna say some things, or I'm taking some things a little bit for granted. I'm not sure if I'm wording them quite right, but historically, the Nasdaq leads when you're, and just like we said earlier, when your leaders start to lag, it's not a good sign. Leaders started to lag when it comes to the Nasdaq and the Dow Jones. The leaders were lagging. So if we go here and we check out like the DJX, and I put let me overlay. See if I can overlay the Nasdaq on it, which I think is NDX. How do I add it? New scale price, same percent scale.
I'm getting out of a bunch of stuff right now. It really doesn't look good.
Yeah, so here's your Nasdaq. There's been a big divergence here between the Nasdaq and the Dow Jones. That's not a good sign.
No way.
So yeah, when the Nasdaq sell, see here's the thing: most every stupid person looks at the Dow Jones.
Yeah.
Oh, here's another mini divergence right at the top here. It's a mini divergence though.
Yeah, we're probably looking into like another month of correction.
Yeah, I'm not.
Damn it! You remember I told you like, oh, we're gonna be correcting for the next 2 months. Like we were looking closer to the summer, etc. Like that was my read in January and like maybe February, and somehow I just bailed out. I'm just like, I don't know. It's pretty stupid. I just was like, yeah, fuck it. I'm gonna still trade. I remember the time when I was like, oh, this is like a candy store. Everything looks great. I'm going to buy this. I'm going to buy this. I'm going to buy this. And then I had this like red flag in my brain, like, dude, this is a bad way buying things. I was like, nah, it's going to be fine.
Yeah, it'll be fine in time. I mean, I'm hoping we just chop sideways. I mean, I don't know how much we drop. It's gonna be.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I'm not waiting for this.
Macro. So I'm not trying to fudge you out of anything, by the way.
No, I just rose the cash, so I don't need to worry that much. I really hate. I was like 90% in the market. I really it went down I sold off till I found like 60% in the market. That's way better feeling than sitting. But looking at this was being over leveraged in the market.
Yeah. Yeah, it's hard to be heavy in these situations. But I mean, we could bounce back. I mean, talk about your bigger macro picture, say looking at charts and stuff and only listen to that, which is extremely valid. But, we can always have hypotheticals about macroeconomic situations. The problem is trying to have that perspective of macroeconomics, but yet still react to what's on the chart, because there tends to be a tendency to put your money to risk with those theses that we come up with. Like, I was saying, oh, COVID's going to open and MasterCard, we're going to have, more people swipey cards, which, could still be valid, but, is that a trade thesis? I don't know. I don't know if that's specifically a trade thesis. I mean, but, to that end, you look at what's happening in the markets. You look at the Fed talking about potentially raising rates in the next year sometime. That's going to put a headwind on the market. You look at if they're going to make an infrastructure bill, if they're going to print money for that, that could bring a tailwind to the market, push it forward. You look at all these potential scenarios, and I think until some of those things sort themselves out, that may be where we're getting this chop from.
I think I read it like this. You can have a thesis, but you need to check the results. The results come in, they're bad. Like, the thesis was mine. It was like, the chemical is going to run, we're going to do a V-shaped bounce. We are in a V-shaped bounce. And more it looks like that can bounce. And so my thesis were wrong. And that's fine.
Yeah, okay, that's fair. Yeah, I got no issues with that.
That's a reality, right? So
yeah,
because
have a thesis, it's proven right or wrong. That's actually great.
Yeah. So if it's proven wrong, you need to get out.
Yeah, pretty much. It's fairly simple. I agree with that 100%.
And also getting out costs money.
Yeah, sometimes.
Being wrong costs money.
But you know what? Like I said earlier, you said, what's the bullish thesis? My answer was, when it comes back, I'll be bullish and I'll make a shitload of money. That's my bullish thesis. The rest of it is not in my control. The rest of it, I don't have any insight on. The rest of it, it's, I got my weapon is this mouse. So as powerful as this mouse is probably all the risk I should take.
Very epic.
Well, you know what I'm saying? Epic. Well, like, I don't have a team of analysts doing all this macro stuff. I don't have insiders in Washington telling me the next policy stuff. Like, all I have is my mouse. That's my market to make, my weapon to make money with. That's it. All I can do is click that buy and sell button. I can't sway policy. I can't, none of that stuff I can do. You out of here, Jared? Peace out. Yeah, I'm about to bail too.
Yeah, I need to go.
Ellie's got to go too. He's got to go. So yeah, I'll look for that 8K in Bitcoin in my account here pretty soon.
No, you're not. I'm selling stuff. Where you
Okay. You taking that 10? Fine. You're keeping your 10K for yourself? That's fucked up, Ellie.
I'm greedy.
That's fucked up.
I'm greedy.
Yeah. Someday that's gonna work. Maybe not on you, but on someone else. Someday it's gonna work. I made a bet with some guy a long time ago on comments. I'm like, I'll bet you 1 Bitcoin it doesn't do that. He's like, okay, you're on. I'm like, you ain't gonna pay. He never paid.
No way, really? What a bad person. That's unexpected.
Yeah, right. He took it on. It was 100% guaranteed not to happen. I forget if it was a bounce or a drop, or I don't remember what it was, but it never even like, not one candle went in his direction. I'm like, dude, you're full of shit. He could have been fucking with me, or he could have been very serious. I don't know, but it was fun. Anyway, all right, get out of here. Have a good day. Bye.
See you. Bye.